Hello and welcome, peoples of the internet. Today I have Justin Sollis with me, who is a career coach. In fact, he started a career coaching company. And the reason this interview is called the biggest decision in your life, because if you spend one third of your life in one place, you might as well make it a good one and a meaningful one. Today we'll be learning from Justin how to make that choice and what to watch out for. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. How did you get into career coaching?
I come from a background of recruiting, actually. I recruited for a lot of the top five Fortune 500 companies. And like I said, I've been recruiting for 8 years, recruiting in industries such as finance, legal, sales, you name it, I've probably done it. And I created my company about 3 years ago, and really in the height of COVID, where I realized that there were a lot of layoffs in these companies. And I really wanted to attribute my background in recruiting to help those individuals who have maybe been affected by layoffs in COVID. So I wanted to leverage my background in recruiting to help those candidates that were out on the market, to give them an inside scoop of kind of what hiring managers are looking for, what recruiters are looking for, what questions they might ask, to really help them and really have market themselves, that they're able to obtain opportunities at these companies. And some of the services that I do offer is resume reviews, LinkedIn revisions, personal branding, salary negotiations, and mock interviews. So that's how I really got into career advising or career coaching.
So you're a recruiter yourself, and now you change sides and you help people get into their dream job. When you call yourself a career coach, what is coaching?
Coaching, I think, is really just providing candidates opportunities to really find really their dream job or the goal job that they're looking for, whether again it be in finance, sales, legal, also looking to transition out of different roles. One of the clients that I really recall that was really cool for me was I actually had a client off of Shark Tank where he had his own business. So he really had his own business that he pitched to the members of Shark Tank. They actually invested into him and
Wow.
his company, and he actually later sold his company, but was looking to transition into real estate. So I helped him basically leverage his past experiences, transition into a new role, a new dream or goal role that he was looking into. So that's really what I find career coaching as, is really providing candidates opportunities to find their dream job or their goal job, or looking even to transition or have any questions that they might have about the job market.
So who's your typical client?
Yeah, typical client is anywhere from early professionals, so someone who's been in the job market for 1 to 3 years, but also people who are C level suite professionals. It could be vice presidents, senior vice presidents who are looking to transition maybe out of a company that they've been in for about 15, 20 years and really looking to make a fresh start at another company.
Wow. Okay. I know that's challenging. When I have a very close friend, he spent 17 years at a huge corporation as a CFO,
Yeah.
and he was really struggling to switch jobs after 17 years because he said that employers were looking at him like he knows everything about this one company, but they didn't perceive him as adaptable. That they said it would be difficult for him because of his age to adopt a new company's
Yeah.
procedures and so forth. So I know this to be a problem.
Yeah.
What other problems do your clients approach you with?
I think it's similar to what you said with your friend of making that transition into a company that they've been in for 15 to 20 years. I think the job market has definitely changed since about 15 to 20 years ago, from the way an interview is being held to what recruiters and hiring managers are looking for in a new hire. I would say that's a struggle. I think it's just really how to market themselves. I think that's a challenge that I find a lot of candidates come into, saying
Mm.
when I go into an interview, how best to market myself, and really helping with that as well. And again, I think it's just their resume. I think it's one thing to talk about yourself, but how do you really advertise that? How do you put that on paper? Summarize it on 2 pages or a page, even just some folks,
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a struggle.
Yeah, now I see why you mentioned personal branding in the beginning of the interview. That's usually something to do if you want to develop a brand, but now I understand how that's relevant in seeking a new opportunity as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That goes internally as well when transitioning into or internal mobility, as you would say, as we say in recruiting, when there's another individual in one department and they're looking to transition to a different department. It's really branding yourself and making that transition, saying, why do you want to switch careers or why do you want to switch opportunities, and really being able to market why and say why you.
So let's say for a decade or more, they really feel like maybe they made the wrong choice with the career and they would like to try themselves in something new. Is there an opportunity for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of that is networking. That's huge. And I think it's really looking at different courses that you can take that you're looking to transition into. There are a lot of great free courses out there that you can take, whether it's in data, whether it's in compliance, project management. There are a lot of great courses that you can do to leverage that to help make that transition. I think, especially now, out of any point in time, networking is key where there's so many candidates out on the market, whether it's in a software developers, sales, that you really have to make yourself unique or stick out. And a lot of that is networking. So I think that is huge to making that transition into a new role, as well as making yourself stick out.
I know that remote work is a big challenge for many of the companies now. Among your clientele, like, what's the trend you're seeing? Do people prefer to work from the office, or are they looking for jobs that they can do from home, or maybe like a hybrid kind of situation? What's the
Yeah.
trend on the market these days?
Yeah, I think absolutely it's going the remote or hybrid route. You do still find that you need candidates that would like to go into the office, but I think it's really that hybrid remote role. And there's still a lot of those out there, I would want to say, amongst those small tech companies right now where they're still offering that remote kind of atmosphere or remote role.
You mentioned that networking is a really big thing, especially when trying to switch careers. So
Yeah.
if you're like working from home and you're remote isolated, doesn't that limit your networking opportunities?
Interestingly enough, no. There have been moments where, even when my past companies that I've been at, where I've had jobs that were all the way in the West Coast. I'm located in the East Coast, where I've had colleagues that lived out in California or people that I networked in California. And whether I'm out there for a vacation or personal reason, I was always able to reach out to them and say, hey, let's meet up for coffee. I'm actually visiting around the area. And I was able to meet up with a lot of my colleagues and a lot of mentors and a lot of people I've networked. It doesn't make it a little challenging, yes, but impossible, no. Again, I've met people who have had similar experiences where they've networked with people within their own company, outside their company, when they're ever in the area, that they get together as much as possible.
And what's your view on online networking?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I would say benefit of COVID was a lot of networking went digital, went online. That career fairs started to go online, and that I think we're in such a remote world right now that you still can network, you still can make connections, and you can still talk to people, network with people on LinkedIn, and connect with them. Reconnecting with them during the time, a few months, it never hurts as well. It's a little bit of a challenge, but I know myself, I have done it, colleagues that have done it, mentors that have done it as well.
So you're saying it's still relevant even after COVID, online
Yeah,
networking is
absolutely.
alive and kicking. And because people get kind of screen fatigue after a long day at work. So sometimes I question how willing are they to spend more time online in front of the screen, maybe
Yeah,
to attend a networking event or something
yeah.
like that.
The benefit of online networking is that a lot of people have their own schedules, have families, have events of themselves to go into. So sometimes it's even more convenient to be able to jump on a computer rather than meeting them up at a coffee shop or at a restaurant to network, where they can just pop open their laptop or their iPad and network that way. So there is a convenient aspect of that as well. A good friend of mine is actually based in Singapore, and he still networks, connects with people over here for opportunities to transition back into a career that he used to be in. He's still connecting with people. Yeah, it's not impossible, even across Asia and everything like that.
And apart from LinkedIn, what other platforms would you recommend for networking online?
I recommend LinkedIn. That has been personally my strong suit, but there's a lot of other networking opportunities out there. Me personally, the ones that I've worked with at my last company was predominantly in sales. There was this company called Wise Women in Sales Everywhere. That was a great networking group that we were able to find strong candidates from and that we utilized as a company. That was just one out of many ones that I personally worked with. Another one was Latinas in Tech was another huge one that I worked with, which was a great organization where they were able to put on different events and we were able to utilize them to bring on candidates. So there's a lot of networking groups out there that you can build a lot of strong mentors for and a lot of companies use to find candidates.
And do you think Clubhouse is still relevant? I know it was huge during COVID, and apparently there are still some sales channels alive on there. I don't know. Do you use it yourself?
No, I never use that typically, honestly. Again, I used in a lot of networking. To find just kind of general candidates if you're sourcing as a recruiter, personally, the couples that groups or organizations I used was obviously, there was one, AngelList was huge. Jobwell was another huge one where there was a really strong, diverse candidate pool there. Like I said, Wise, Women in Sales Everywhere, Latinas in Tech was another one, just to name a few off the top of my head. Looking into those groups, seeing what they also provide, I think is also beneficial because a lot of them do set up different events that you can connect with mentors as well as people on the same level as you to find different opportunities.
All right. So let's get into the juicy part.
Yeah.
So if somebody is looking to transition to a new role or maybe just a new company, what are the 5 most common mistakes people do when they trying to leave a company and trying to pursue a new career elsewhere?
I think some of the big don't do's is the person not researching the company. A lot of hiring managers, when they're looking at your resume, they might just say, "Oh, what are you looking for in in a new role? What are your goals?" But a lot of it's going to be, why are you looking to transition? What do you know about our role? Or what do you know about our company? So I think not doing research on a company is huge, and not being able to discuss or say why you're looking to transition. I think that's one big mistake. A second mistake as a recruiter that I would see is that a lot of candidates would reach out and not mention a job that they're interested in, but basically just saying, "Hey, here's my resume. I'm looking into joining your company," but not really doing their research to say, you know what, this is a particular role that I'm interested in and basically how my skill sets transition. I think as recruiters, whenever you can make our job easier, say what the role is that you're interested, why you're a perfect fit for a role, I think being able to do that really makes it easier for us to reach out to you, basically pass your resume off to a hiring manager saying, "Hey, this person might reach out to me. I think they would be a perfect candidate based off of their resume, their transitional skill," and that would be a good reason to schedule a call with them. I would say those are the top two that I see. I would say little as preparing for interviews. I think that's huge. A lot of recruiters, I know myself, really take time to prep candidates for interviews. So having candidates being able to really take that time to do that research that of the company, research that the recruiter basically, maybe articles that they sent to them, doing that research. And I think just showing up too as well. Some candidates might not show up to interviews. So I think showing up is a huge part. Doing your research, looking into the company. I think those are the top four, I would say, are the big things to look out for and to basically prepare for when you go into an interview or a conversation with the company.
In terms of choosing a career, how would you help somebody choose a career that is actually meaningful for them, that is the right fit for them, really, as a person, as an individual, right? I'm not talking about because everybody has some financial goals. That's one side of it. But going into work and hating your job is a horrible place to be because you just spend so much time there, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. That is, I think, huge right now. It's always been huge, but I think especially right now. And again, going back to even COVID, another good thing about COVID was it gave people opportunity to really assess if the role that they're currently in is something that they want to do for the next 5, 10, 15 years, or is it a good jumping off point to say, okay, let me reevaluate what makes me happy, what are my goals, what will wake me up every day to go to work and feel fulfilled. So I would self-reflect and really look at things that really bring you joy and really bring you happiness. It could be things that you're currently doing in your current role that you like, or it could be things that, you know what, you typically don't really enjoy. And looking at how can you leverage the things that you really enjoy and leverage to transition to something else. Could use an example. Some recruiters could like really the D&I aspect of things and really want to focusing on diversity hiring. And that could be something that typically they would want to focus on, right? Maybe not the aspect of funneling candidates through processes or dealing with hiring managers or that aspect, but really focusing on sourcing. So if it was myself, I would say, you know what, maybe I wouldn't want to recruit. I would leverage the stuff that I really enjoy, and that really is sourcing, finding diverse candidates, finding them opportunities, growing, things along those lines. So I would say really focusing on things that you really enjoy and finding a role that really focuses on that and really trying to avoid things that you maybe not really enjoy and scrapping that and going from there.
That's really good advice, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder what would you advise to those who might be contemplating starting their own business to transition out of a career?
I would say prepare, really think about it. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to take a lot of patience. A lot of the people, a lot of the mentors that I've had, whether they started in career advising, whether they started their own clothing company, whether they started their own consulting company, all of them have said that it's not going to take off right away. One thing I've always heard is any company that you start, it's going to at least take 2 years to grow, and you might not get clients right away. You might not get that big sale right away, but it's really being patient about it. One of my good friends that I had in college, he started his own physical therapy company, and his was so niche where he would travel to different people's homes and go there and basically help them or do physical therapy over there. And he only had a really small niche market, which was New Jersey. And that was hard to really start off a business where your market is just so small in itself to really be patient and see any growth come from it. And he has grown a lot from it, has had a lot of clients, has been featured on many podcasts as well, and has really been thriving. So you really need to be patient. You really got to figure out if this is something that you really want to do. I would also say if you have a full-time job, obviously don't quit that 9 to 5. Have that still 9 to 5 job until you find that your own company is really thriving to maybe at a point where you know what, you don't need that 9 to 5. But it's always good. I say even personally, I even still have a 9 to 5 because it's always good to have another line of income, especially with all the layoffs that have been happening, that you always have something to fall back on. That if the 9 to 5 doesn't work, you're saying, what else do I have to have? What other things can I rely on as an extra stream of income? So again, I would say do your research, find out things what you would like, just like if you were to transition into another career, find out that things you like, try to leverage the skills that you already acquired from that 9 to 5 that you can leverage into your current business. That's one of the things when I looked at JSOL's advisors is that I was in recruiting for 8 years and I put a lot of time into it. Long nights, investing in my own skill set, taking courses, and I said to myself, I don't want to scrap that. That was a lot of great 8 years that I had, a lot of skill set, a lot of time that I built up to build my own professional career. How can I leverage that? And I leveraged that into creating my own career advising company where, again, I want to add a unique perspective to candidates, right? That I think what kind of makes my company unique is that there is a lot of people out there that have certifications in resume building or resume revisions, but have they worked with hiring managers? Have they worked with recruiters? Do they know what companies are looking for? Have they worked really in HR to really give that outside perspective? And I think that's what makes JSOL's advisors unique is that I am able to give that perspective being in recruiting for 8
Yeah.
years.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really good advice. And I also encourage people who want to go into business to maybe they gradually started on the side and then transition to part-time if possible before they making the leap, just to have that cushion until the business really takes off and is steady. So going back to the career advice and helping people to choose well. So we discussed one avenue, which was obviously entrepreneurship, and the other avenues you said that they need to do some self-reflection, and through this self-reflection, learn what is it that they really enjoy and what makes them fulfilled, right? How could they do that? Do you have any tools that maybe you can recommend people to try?
Different exams or courses or quizzes that kind of figure out what you do enjoy to really see where you would best fit. It's looking at different careers that you might be interested, the positive and negatives. It's going on LinkedIn. I've personally gone on LinkedIn in different industries that I've been interested in, liked, and I would network to individuals and say, hey, my name is Justin. I've been in recruiting for a little bit, but I've looked into cybersecurity, or I looked into being a compliance officer, and I found some things I've been really interested in. And I would love to schedule a call with you, 5-10 minutes, to discuss your career, your background. I think one of the things is that people are always happy to talk about themselves. They can go on for days to talk about themselves. So really making about them to see what their career path has been huge. So you'll not to say everybody will respond to your messages. I don't want to put that out there, but I've always found that 1 or 2 or 3 people have always took time to speak with me 5 or 10 minutes, because you never know, they were maybe in a previous situation such as you. I've met a lot of individuals who have not just stayed in one career path. I recently spoke with a head of talent acquisition at another company where she wasn't always in talent acquisition. She started in another department within the bank, and she dabbled in some parts of HR. And then she had a mentor or boss said, what have you thought about talent acquisition? And she made that transition into it. So there are a lot of people who have not stayed or stuck in the same career path from when they graduated school that has transitioned, and they're very open to talk to other individuals who are like themselves. So I would say, again, go online, take different career quizzes to see what you would feel would fall best into, see if it matches.
One you can recommend?
Not off the top of my head that I can really speak to. There are a lot of ones out there, to be honest with you, that are also free, that it's something short, like 30 questions that you can take that gives you different career paths that you can join, and see if any of those interest you. Again, doing another internet search to see what things that interest you or what roles that you maybe be interested in, and even going a deep dive, looking at job descriptions, seeing that's something that you're interested in. And if it is, reaching out to people on LinkedIn to see, scheduling a 10 or 15-minute conversations. Again, that's something I've done a lot, where I thought I would be interested in a role, and then I would speak to some individuals and I'm like, oh, this is a lot of data focused. I thought it was more maybe just really cybersecurity or really compliance, looking in and investigating and different things. But finding out it involved a lot of technical knowledge, using spreadsheets, using formulas. And I'm like, you know what, that's not something I would typically like to do. So maybe that's not a path I would want to go in. Let's look at some other things. So that's always a great thing. The last thing I would recommend to people is that you find a role, you look at a job description, you find something that you might like, and then apply to the job, right? Because again, it could be the cases that, let's say if you do get the job, it might not be something that you're interested in, and then you might want to leave that job, and then it looks jumpy on your resume. And also why I also say network with people, because you're actually talking to a live person who might say, you know what, this is not what the job description says. Or what the job description says is not exactly what the role is. Or it says this about a role, but what it's not saying about is some of the challenges you might go through. So that's why I also say it's good to network with people actually in the industry, because it can tell you the positives and negatives in the role and connect you to other people maybe in their department, in their social circle and network that they could actually connect you to, that could lead to an opportunity.
So what's the greatest transformation you have seen in any of your clients?
Yeah, I would say the one I mentioned from Shark Tank. He was basically focused on fitness, where he basically sold this fitness idea to someone on the show on Shark Tank. It went well. Again, he was able to get investments into it and then took a whole different trajectory into real estate. That was the greatest transformation that I've seen, to really go into a whole other industry, to be the CEO of this industry, to sell it, and then saying, you know what, I want to follow something I'm really passionate about, and that's real estate, and really networking, having them look into different networking opportunities, like just restructuring his resume to really get those opportunities.
What's the hottest job on the market right now?
I would say anything in tech, really. You can't go wrong. I would say anything in data, whether it's a data engineer, data analyst, anything. I think that's good. That's huge. That whether you're in finance, whether you're in tech, those are one of the jobs that a lot of companies are looking for right now. You can get certifications, whether you can do research courses that you can take. There's a course, or I would say a program out there, General Assembly, a huge organization that offers free courses to individuals. There are some courses that you can obviously pay for, but there's some free ones. There are also people who are in the industry that you can schedule calls with, or group calls that are part of these courses that you can really pick their brain. That's something that I took advantage of to really, I want to say, increase my social awareness or my brand awareness by taking courses at General Assembly. So I would say for people to look into that organization as a way to get maybe free courses or different networking opportunities.
All right, thank you. That's really helpful advice. But if somebody is looking for a new career and they want to use your help, where can they find you, Justin?
I have my email with JSOLISADV@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is JSOLsadv.com, and you can reach out to me there.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Justin. Thank you for all your advice. This has been most helpful, I think, especially for those who are transitioning to a new job. Thank you for joining us. And if you like this interview and found it helpful, please subscribe to our channel and follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram as well. Thank you, and bye-bye.